Good day, everyone. So, since it's Easter, I was looking for something a little Jesus themed because we all know that Easter is about Jesus coming back to life and talking to Saul. And then, for further information on that, you should read the Bible. So, this story is called The First Miracle. Okay, and it's by Jeffrey Archer. Now, Jeffrey Archer is known for a number of novels and short stories, and he's quite a charming storyteller. I like the fact that he takes on a lot of interesting themes, challenging themes, and he sort of has this way of making it his own, making it into something that you would not expect. There's a lot to be, explored about in Archer. And another thing is that I actually happened to meet Archer when he was promoting one of his books. He came down to Kolkata and I met him for hardly 5 minutes. So he is a bit of a dear author to me. So, the first miracle, Jeffrey Archer. Here we go. Okay, so it's a Roman settlement. That's where our story is set. And a little boy is sitting at home and he's playing. He's in a compound, and the compound has got a thick wall around it. And he's sitting and he's playing, and he's remembering that his father is an angry centurion in the army who happens to beat him a bit now and then. I wouldn't say black and blue, but he does get a number of thrashings from his father. So he's just thinking that today my mother sent me to get some water, and I was going and I tripped on a stone on the way back, and the pitcher of water broke. What if my mom tells my dad that? I'll be in for a massive thrashing. Right at that moment, his mother calls him and she says, I need you to go down to the village and I need you to get me a chicken, figs, dates, and 2 pomegranates. Here is some money. She hands him some silver and says, if you are back before nightfall or dusk, then I promise you that I will not tell your father anything about the broken pitcher. So he realizes this is his chance at redemption. And he makes his way down to the village, which is about 2 miles by foot. So he's gone to the village and he's talking to the merchants. And at first he buys the chicken. When he buys the chicken, he holds out one of these 2 silver pieces. They are called denaries, not Daenerys from Game of Thrones. Denary is a olden currency. You could Google it. Perhaps you'll find some more information about it. So he hands this merchant 1 denarii, and he stands there with his hands on his hips until the merchant has given back all the change that he has got in the form of copper coins, sestertii, I believe. So with this sestertii, he goes and he looks for the dates and figs, and he repeats his performance. He drives a very hard bargain, and at the end of all his shopping, he has spent less than 1 denarii, and he still has an entire silver piece in his pocket. So he's like, okay, all I have now to do is to buy the 2 pomegranates. So I'll just buy one for myself as well, and I'll eat it on the way back because it's not even, late afternoon. I'll be back well before dusk, and my father should be happy with me because I have not spent an extravagant sum of money. I'm actually bringing back more than half of what I had spent. Saying this, thinking this, he buys the pomegranates and he's eating one and walking back from the village. Now, this is where it gets interesting. On his way back, he sees a really fat woman astride a camel standing outside an inn. And the person who's with her, he goes into the inn to find out if there's any room for them to stay. But the boy thinks I could have answered his question because right now, because of the Romans invading, there isn't so much place. Refugees are taking places at inns to spend the night. A little while later, he finds out that this person comes out and he leads the camel into the nearby barn. Now, something about this woman appeals to him. He can't see her face; it's veiled. But something about this woman sort of draws him in. So he he follows the camel, and in the barn, the woman takes off her veil, and he is struck by her beauty. He is spellbound. He cannot move. He's just staring at her. He has never seen anybody so beautiful. Therefore, he enters the barn and he kneels in front of this woman and he gives her the food he has purchased. And he continues to just kneel in front of her, and she smiles at him. And when she smiles at him, he backs out. He doesn't turn his back to her, he backs out backward from the barn. And he starts walking home a little dazed. And as he is returning, the sun is setting. So he's quickening up his pace also. He knows he won't make it back before dusk. That is out of the question. So now he's thinking, how do I save my height? So his panic is making him walk faster. And as he's walking, he comes across 3 men on camels. And they ask him, where can we find the King of Kings? And he says, there is only one true king, Augustus Caesar, the emperor. And these 3 men, one of them says, no, the true King of Kings has been born. And we have followed the star in the heavens to find him. Where can we find him? And he looks towards the heavens and he sees that there is one big star that seems to be shedding light on the very village that he is returning from. So then these men, they ask him, what is that village? And he says, why? That is just Bethlehem. You recognize the name? Bethlehem? And they say, yes, the King of Kings can be found in Bethlehem. And they continue on their journey. Meanwhile, the boy rushes home to find that the compound gates have been locked. And he bangs on the gates and they open the gates and the centurion is home and he is very angry. He's on the verge of sending out a search party to try and find his son. So when he is taken into his father's presence, the boy is trembling because all he has is that one silver piece. That's it. And he doesn't even know whether his father is going to believe his story or not. So his father asks him point blank. I'm sorry. His father asks him point blank, tell me the truth. Where have you been? And the boy says all. He talks about how he went to the village, how he purchased whatever his mother wanted, how he drove a hard bargain, about how on his way back he bought an extra pomegranate for himself and he was eating it, and how he met the woman, what he did with the food, and ultimately the 3 strange men. And his father doesn't believe a word of it. And he says, listen, my son, it is important for Romans to be honest. If you do not tell me the truth, and you have spent a denarius on yourself, and you have nothing to show for it, do not make me angry. You will regret it. You will get the worst thrashing that you have ever got. But the son sticks to the story. He doesn't change a single thing in the story, not one detail. And so his father says, you leave me no choice. He takes off his leather belt, which has got brass studs embedded into it. He orders the boy to touch his feet, and he gives him a hiding, a terrible thrashing. At the end of said thrashing, blood is flowing freely from the boy's back. and his mother is extremely distressed. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have a sore throat. So his mother is extremely distressed. He goes up to bed. She takes some soothing oils and ointments and goes with him to try and aid his wounds, to try and put him out of a little bit of his pain. When she reaches his room, she goes up to his bed, gently lifts his tunic, and is amazed. The boy's skin is unmarked. There is no open wound. There is nothing. It is as new as if he had just taken a bath. And the mother is stunned. But she's not so stunned that she doesn't have enough time to warn the boy. She tells the boy that he must never mention this incident to his father. She says to him, purge it from your memory. Never let it be brought up. Never. And as she is leaving the room, she turns at the door and says, now I know you were telling the truth, Pontius. And that is where my story ends, or rather Archer's story ends. But do let me know a couple of things. Did you get all the references? That's why I chose this story. If you could please let me know what your interpretation of this story is in the comments below or on Facebook, where this will ultimately be uploaded. I would be very grateful, because I read this story when I was a kid and it's been with me ever since. I think it's one of the greatest stories that Archer has ever written. So I hope you enjoyed it, and in time for Easter, so it's something involving Bethlehem. That's a big hint right there, Bethlehem. So to those who celebrate, happy Easter all the way from India, and I will be back next week with another story for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is the Bilge Master signing off.